Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our Q&A on our newest fund, Real Income Properties Oklahoma 1 LLC, otherwise known as our Build to Rent Fund in Oklahoma. I'm Kathy Fedke, co-manager, and we've got Leah here with us as well. Hey, Leah.
Hey, Kathy.
And again, this disclaimer, this is not an offer. The offer is in the private placement memorandum. So that's where all the details are, all the legal work. We're giving a summary here, but this is what we're supposed to tell you. And of course, always present it to your tax attorney or your CPA, your anyone whoever your advisor is, to make sure that this investment would fit your circumstances, because it's different for everybody. And then of course, we're doing our best to summarize what's going on in the world and how this is going to go, but our projections are just that. They're projections, no guarantees, of course, in real estate. Okay. Today's agenda: property information, area opportunity, basic fund details, and Q&A, because I know we had a lot of questions, lots of questions. And this is for accredited investors only. This is filed as a 506C, which means that we can talk about it publicly, but we also can only accept accredited investors. And that means that you either, any one of these, not all of them, either you have a net worth over $1 million, excluding your primary residence, or that you have income over $200,000 as an individual, or over $300,000 as a couple, a married couple, in each of the prior 2 years, and you expect the same this year, or you have a Series 7, Series 65, or Series 82 investment license, and then that makes you accredited. That's a newer one. So a lot of you know who Leah Slaughter is. She's been working with Real Wealth for years. I think, what, 14 years? 12? Okay. I'm always confused how long it's been. It's been a while. But she's born and raised in DFW, which is great. Really knows the area. She's the co-founder and owner of OmniKey, which is both a real estate company and a brokerage and a property management firm. So this is just a really great bonus for us out here in California, and those of you who don't live in Dallas, to have somebody who understands so intimately the North Dallas area, investing personally and also managing so many other people's properties. They own multiple companies. They have 4 adopted children, 3 of them up and out of the house at this point, and 1 little tiny one left. Very involved in community and local nonprofits. She's a real estate speaker, and the big one is they own $40 million in real estate. They walk the talk. They know the area so well, and that's why I feel so confident with Leah and Michael as our partner on this. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, Leah, because you've already invested in this area that seems really off the map and it might be confusing, like where the heck is this? But that's always the case whenever I go to Dallas. I'm like, where are we? It's so big and there's so much development, and what is a field today is not going to be tomorrow. So I will hand it to you from here.
Thank you. And one thing I will mention is the 40 million we own is just personally Michael and I. We also, of course, have our other fund, but it's important to note there's a lot of people up here who are like, I own 2,000 units and it's 4% or 2%. We actually own all those, just us. And so we've been doing this. This will be our 18th year, so not quite as long as you, Kathy, but we pretty much live and breathe real estate. Started doing this when I was 18. It's quite literally all I've ever done. And so I think growing up here, being before the last crash, seeing the last crash happen, really allowed us to build a model that we feel is extremely resilient and really keeps in mind that we have to be not so much volatility dependent and market dependent, but have something that's going to work no matter what is happening around us. And I think that's exceptionally important right now. So for me, my bread and butter has always been 1 to 4 family. For those of you that have heard me speak, that you've bought with us, single family duplex up to fourplex is my bread and butter. I'm not a fan of multifamily. And so when I was talking with the builder that I bought a property from, and he said, well, I'm building more fourplexes, the first thing I thought was, well, this is a fantastic opportunity. And then when I asked him the price, I tried to keep my jaw from hitting the floor. So I left that meeting, and we talked briefly about this at the last fund meeting that we did, but I was going to buy them all myself. But Kathy and I were working on the other fund. It was going so well, and there was such this desire to have something bigger, something that was newer. And so I called Kathy and I said, look, I'm buying these either way. Let's do a fund if you want. I think they'd be incredible. So I come to you as someone who's already bought this product from this builder. The ones that I bought are a little bit smaller. I'm actually going to show you what those look like, but this is someone that we have been working with. I already own this product right down the street, and the opportunity here is just incredible. So this fund is brand new fourplexes, brand new construction. There are 10 contracted total. So they're already identified and they're already pre-contracted. So for those of you that are invested in our other fund, this is different because we already know the exact product that we are buying. And today I'm very excited to show you some update pictures of the first 2 buildings that are pretty close to completion. So each fourplex will not be purchased until they're completed, inspected, and ready to close at title. So there's no risk that he doesn't finish the builds here and that we're stuck with these properties we've already purchased. We're not buying things that we're not able to inspect. So in terms of kind of the safety factor, this is the trifecta of what we look for. Each the fourplexes have 2 types of units. There's going to be 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom units and 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. The pre-contract price is $450,000, and that's per fourplex. Now, my fourplex is actually 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. And so this is larger. It has more bedrooms and more bathrooms. And I'll show you the differences in a moment. And then one of the best parts of this project is the builder is actually paying a commission. So there is no acquisition fee being charged to the fund on this project, meaning that's a lower upfront cost, which has helped with the overall return. And so very excited about that. Now, my property, I just refinanced. I bought it about a year ago, and I knew I got a great deal. So I just refinanced it in the middle of everything going on right now with interest rates, and my property appraised at $530,000. Now, keep in mind, we're under contract at $450,000 for larger. So instead of having all 2 bedrooms, we have 2 3-bedrooms. So we have 2 extra bedrooms, and we have 2 that are 2-bedroom, 2-bathrooms. So we also have 2 extra bathrooms. So these are larger, they're going to rent for more money, and mine appraised $80,000 above purchase price. So that's $80,000 assumed built-in equity times 10 properties. So that's $800,000 the investors of this project are sharing in just with equity capture assumed at closing. So really incredible opportunity there. This isn't just what we're projecting for the future, this is what we're looking at realistically right now. So this was my fourplex when it was completed. You'll notice great parking space, beautiful buildings. They're using brick finishes, nice little porches, low E-glass windows, nice upgraded roof, just absolutely beautiful looking property. And then I'll show you some pictures of the inside. So this area is kind of a recreational area, and I'm going to talk to you about this in a little bit. So they actually do the upgraded stained wood cabinets and wood finishes for the surrounds here, and then the stained concrete flooring, which is extremely hardy. So when we look for finishes, we want them to be things that are going to live through a tenancy. So we love shaker cabinets, we love stained or paint grade cabinets that are easy to touch up. We don't like the particle board stuff because it just doesn't wear well. We also don't like a lot of carpet. And so anytime I see a builder that's putting in vinyl wood flooring or stained concrete like this, we love it because it's very easy to maintain. You'll notice even little upgrades like doing the glass in the front and back doors. These types of things are what I consider an upgrade, and tenants love them as well. So these properties stay occupied with a wait list, and you're going to see why that is when we talk about inventory in the area, because there's just nothing, literally nothing. So we'll talk about that too. So again, beautiful stained wood doors, super cute look. This area is right over the Oklahoma border, and there's a lot of recreational in this area, and the look just fits right in. You've got a lot of country homes, and tenants just love it, absolutely love it. And these are good sized units. When I walked through these, I was surprised by how big the living room and the kitchen was. It's just a lot of living space, and that's pretty hard to find, especially in 2- and 3-bedroom smaller units. Again, you'll notice upgrades like cabinets over the toilet, little things you don't think about, but just great looking properties. Central AC, of course, and you'll notice they're using top quality units and systems. And then each unit has its own laundry area. So tenants pay their own utilities. This area is water bill back, so the water remains in our name and we bill back the tenants for water every month. Individually metered for electric, so tenants pay all the electric. And so it really just makes overall owning cost much, much lower. And that's why I love 1 to 4 family, because you can really treat each unit like a single family unit and make tenants responsible for pretty much everything on their own. On my building, we even put internet in and we're billing them back for internet at a profit. So there's lots of little things that you can do to increase cash flow on this as well. So this is the current progress as of this morning. So this is one building here. You'll see they just finished bricking. They're about to do a little bit of siding, and the roof is done. They're about to start your eaves and soffits. And then the next slide is going to show us the other property next door that is the second fourplex that is in the process of being bricked right now. So the first fourplex is going to be completed the first week of November, and the second one is going to be completed the third week of November, around the 15th. So the first two are already underway. The hope is to have these closed and occupied going into the new year so they can start cash flowing. So just love the progress, love how these look. And again, you'll notice almost identical to mine, just a little bit larger. So this is inside right now. So again, you'll notice the beautiful cabinetry. You'll see they've already got fixtures and drywall, paint's already done. They're just waiting for flooring. So Kathy, I'll let you go over the basic overview, and then we'll start talking about the area and why I'm so excited about this.
Okay, so here's the basic fund overview. There's a minimum investment of 50 units, which is $50,000. Total offering max is 3 million, so it's a very small raise. It'll go quickly, with a minimum raise of 550. Deadline is 120 days from published date with a 60-day extension. Offering close date 9 months with 3-month extension, and for accredited investors only, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's Real Income Properties Oklahoma 1 LLC, our build to rent fund. We're just acquiring up to 10 newly constructed fourplexes in Thackerville. Refinancing of first properties, purchases will buy more. Hold for 4 to 7 years, sell or refinance in the future. Target IRR 11 to 12%, and then preferred return at 6%. So for those of you not familiar with the preferred return, cash flows will come in from rents, and then also there's the profit from the sale. So the preferred, you get the 6% first before the managers do, and then the profits are shared at the end. So tell us about Thackerville, because I actually did a story on this. I did a report on this on the market on Bigger Pockets, and they were kind of laughing at me because no one had ever heard of it. So tell us about Thackerville.
You know, it's so funny. No one had ever heard of Sherman and Denison either, and yet I've made probably $15 million there in the last few years. So, you know, It's really interesting how we get so hyper fixated on inner cities and inner markets that when people like me go and work around those inner markets, a lot of people don't understand the model until they're doing it. And so, you know, we've been watching Oklahoma for years, and we knew Oklahoma was going to get really big. And when Gainesville and Sherman and Denison got so big, we knew it was inevitable. And so we went ahead and licensed the company, licensed all of our top staff, because we knew we were going to make the move into Oklahoma. And we started selling Oklahoma a little over a year ago. The thing about Oklahoma is most people don't realize how close it is. So if we're in downtown Dallas, you can get to Oklahoma in an hour. And that's really, really easy drive, right? It's one highway, you take it all the way north and you're there. If you're in Sherman or Denison and you want to get to Oklahoma, you're 10 minutes. If you're in Thackerville and you want to get to Oklahoma, you're less than 10 minutes because they are the next city down. So you just don't realize how close North Texas is to the Oklahoma border. You know, Texas is a huge state, and so it's often easy to think, oh, well, that's really far away. You know, it's 15 hours to drive from one end to the other. But North Dallas and North Texas is really as far north as you can go before you hit Oklahoma. So anyway, this area is incredible, absolutely incredible. I've been talking about this growth of this far northern area for close to 6 years now, and we knew it was coming, right? We knew land was cheap, we knew that the infrastructure needed to grow, and that's one of the key things we're looking for. When we look at like an inner city, like Dallas is a great example, when the market fluctuates, they can stop construction because they have enough grocery stores, they have enough schools, they have enough shopping centers. They don't have to physically keep going. These areas that we're talking about here that have these massive housing shortages, massive infrastructure shortages, and huge surplus of jobs, they have no choice but to physically keep growing, which is why even through COVID and times when things were a little more fluctuating, we saw massive and record amounts of growth happening, not only in redevelopment, but also in just commercial infrastructure, road expansions, because they physically don't have a choice. They can't hold the people that are coming for all of these jobs. And this northern quadrant, this is like the job mecca. And again, going back to what's so unique about North Texas is we're not built in our inner cities. We have and always have been growing in our suburbs. And that's why you see all of your Fortune 500s coming into the suburbs, not to the inner cities. No one, I make a joke all the time. I don't even go into Dallas. I can count on one hand the number of times I go into Dallas in a year, because that's just not where everything is. And certainly not for those of us who live on the northern end like I do. So Thackerville was just the next right choice. It's the first city once you cross the border. It's immediately past the border. It has easy access to all of the other big Oklahoma cities that are about a half hour north, just like it has 10 to 15-minute access down to Gainesville, or 30-minute access down in Denton, which is one of our largest suburbs and one of the largest cities in all of Texas. There's virtually zero inventory in this area. Right now, there's only 11 homes for sale in Thackerville and only one property for rent. One property for rent. Do you know who owns that one property? Me. It is an incredible, incredible opportunity. There is no inventory. Why? Because everyone has been so hyper-focused on the county to the south. Everything's more expensive. They can sell things for more money. Land was easy to get. That's where everyone has been focusing. So even the builders that live up on that Oklahoma side, they've all been building down south. The same reason why we don't see apartments in Gainesville and Sherman and Denison. They're all building south because they could charge twice as much. Well, now what's happening is the land grab has happened. They're running out of land. And now suddenly all eyes are on this Oklahoma corridor. There's a reason why when I show you Gainesville's number, the city to the south, you're going to see how just incredibly booming this area has gotten. The other thing I want to point out is the majority of properties in the area, as I've already said, are fully occupied, 100% occupied with wait lists. And so that is just the strength of this area. It's not that there's not people there. Wait till you see how many employers and jobs there are. There's just physically nowhere for them to go. The housing shortage is extreme, and that is what we are intending to piggyback on.
Okay.
So when we talk about Thackerville, I want you to look to the left here. You're going to see the median list price at almost $600,000. This is an extremely popular high dollar market. Luxury cabins, Airbnbs, lots of vacation resort properties. You have a beautiful lake. You have lots of rivers and things where people go that are crystal clear. And you've got the crazy thing we're going to talk about is WinStar Casino, which is one of the largest destinations for weekends from people coming from North Texas. So a lot of money pumping into this area, and a lot of it is recreation. So people that want to have a ranch, a lot of rich people in Dallas who want to have a ranch, this is where they go get their land because it's cheaper, and it's pretty impossible to find stuff one county down now because things have gotten so expensive. There are dozens of major employers nearby. There's a big list of them here. You've got the Walmart and Sam's Club distribution centers, tons of distribution centers actually within just a few minutes away. Development is right at the border, and it's starting to spill over. So Southern Oklahoma and North Texas are both facing an extreme housing shortage, specifically in this area. And it just piggybacks in this area off what's happening in North Texas. And so what we've seen is a huge appreciation amount and a high cost of housing. There's over 3,700 jobs available just within 30 minutes of where we're talking about this property being. And so that's a huge number of jobs when we're talking about these little cities.
Okay.
So this is, I wanted to give you an idea of how strong the employment market is in Oklahoma. Oklahoma actually has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the entire United States. So the unemployment rate statewide is about 2.7%. They're far above pandemic levels, just like Texas is. It actually looks eerily similar if you look at a chart for Texas and you look at a chart for Oklahoma. And if you look at that map there at the left bottom, you'll see colors that are yellow, blue, and dark blue. Well, yellow are going to be your areas that have the lowest unemployment rate. So if you look at the very, very tip top bottom, you'll see Love that says 1.9%. That is where these properties are located. The unemployment rate just updated to 1.9% for this county. Absolutely incredible. There are over 360 employers just in Love County alone. 10-year future job growth is predicted to be over 49.5%. For those of you keeping track, that's over 47% above the national average. As I said, this area is poised to boom, and we are getting in at just the right time to take advantage of that.
Whoop. Did we miss? Yeah, there we go.
So this is WinStar World Casino. This is one of their hotel towers. So Thackerville, where this property is located, is home to WinStar Resort and Casino. That's a top 4 Oklahoma employer. And so let me talk to you about WinStar, because you may think a casino, well, why does that matter? This is not any regular casino. So I'm going to show you a map of what this property looks like that the casino encompasses, and talk to you a little bit about why this is such a big deal. It's actually literally down the road and across the street. If you'll go to the next slide for me.
Just keep skipping ahead. There we go.
So WinStar is actually the world's biggest casino. That is the largest casino in the entire world, over 600,000 square feet total. So if you look at the right, what you're going to see are all these different cities. So Paris and Beijing and Rome. Each of these is its own casino that's a part of WinStar. They have upscale entry and mid-level restaurants, tons of fast food joints. They have a 500-person buffet. Pretty much anyone in North Texas has been to WinStar. I know a lot of people who do it every single weekend. They get the best concerts, they have amazing restaurants, and people just love it because it's, for most of us, it's 30, 40 minutes. The Global Event Center they have is where all these big names go. I mean, every top artist you could think of, this is where they go do their concerts, and their hall holds 6,500 people. They have bars, live music, lounges. They even have a jazz bar. They have a 65,000 square foot convention center. They have over 1,400 luxury hotel rooms. Most of the time they're sold out if you try to get a room on the weekend. They have massive spas and facilities, outdoor areas, huge pools, and just beautiful outdoor areas. They have a golf academy and a golf club with 2 championship hole courses, 18-hole courses, and they have tons of shopping. And then they even have a luxury RV park. The casino itself has 400,000 square feet of gaming, and that's in these nine themed areas we're talking about. So again, over 10,000 electric games, 100 table games. Their poker room is 55 tables. When I'm talking about the size of this area, this is monster. It's like a mini city. It's absolutely incredible. If you're ever in North Texas, it's worth the drive just to go see it, because the outsides of each of these areas, they literally look like you're in that city. It's an incredible architectural feat of what they've built here. I'll never forget when I turned 18, WinStar was new. It was like a brand new thing, and it was a tent. And Michael and I went up there and we walked in, and you felt like you were in a circus tent. And then we went back a few years later when I turned 21 for my birthday, and they had like a real building, and that was the first city. And then we went back years later, and it's like, it's a whole mall. It's really unbelievable. But again, this is a top 4 Oklahoma employer. They right now have dozens of jobs available as of today just in this area. And then this area also is booming with recreational marijuana, which, love it or hate it, it's big, big business because it's not legal in Texas. And so everyone in Dallas who wants to go get marijuana, they cross the border, they go up there, they get a medical card. It's big, big business. So there is a ton of money floating through this area, and a ton of people working for all these businesses with nowhere to live that are currently having to either go live north in Oklahoma, which also has almost no inventory, or down into Texas. And that's a huge difference because property taxes and expenses are higher in Texas than what they are in Oklahoma. So again, the opportunity here, because of the massive growth we're talking about, and it's not like growth that's coming, y'all. The growth is already there. The jobs are already there. These casinos employ tons and tons of people. This area employs so many people, and these are not low-paying jobs. We have tons of tenants who work for WinStar, and they make a lot of money, like 6-figure money. It's big, big news.
Wow.
So let's talk about Gainesville for a minute, because Gainesville has just been going crazy. And Gainesville is really where we have focused a lot of assets and acquisitions, not only for my personal portfolio, but even for our other fund, because Gainesville's just grown so much. And it's back in that kind of position like Sherman and Denison, where we're running out of land and lots that are affordable. So this is the first city when you cross into Texas. It's less than 10 minutes away from where the property is. You have major employers in Gainesville, just massive employers, tons of distribution centers. You have to understand, this is Highway 35. This I-35 takes you all the way down through San Antonio, all the way north through the country. And so this is your main thoroughfare that these areas are off of. These aren't small little country highways. And so you've got all these employers, but keep in mind the property is only 10 minutes to this area, only 30 minutes into Denton. And so all of these distribution channels, they're not going to pay to put their distribution centers down in Denton. It's too expensive. They're going to go the next place that's north. That's Gainesville. That's this area. So the city has seen huge growth and appreciation, and it continues to expand rapidly. And there's a huge rental housing shortage even in Gainesville. There's only 12 rentals in the market right now as of today for a city of 18,000 people. You want to talk about scary for this area, scary for our kids. This is the housing shortage that is going to be the story of our lifetime because we're not building enough. I could go on for hours about how we got here and how we're not fixing the problem. But what you need to know is as investors, that's opportunity. 18,000 people, 50% are renters in North Texas, 50% of our population, and we have 12 properties on the market. That should scare all of us.
With more jobs coming.
Yeah, exactly. And these are high paying jobs, right? 49.27% of the jobs coming in pay more than 150,000 a year. Only 17% of the jobs coming in pay less than 75,000 a year. So it's going to be the crisis of my generation for sure. So looking at Gainesville, average price point of a home is about $314,900. You'll notice that just in the last year, a home in Gainesville has gone up approximately $70,000. One bedrooms are up almost 73%, two bedrooms up almost 16%, three bedrooms up almost 21%. This is a massive, massive opportunity in this area. And once construction starts in Thackerville and in these other cities over Oklahoma, what we're seeing is their starting price point is close to 300 and above. That's why you're seeing that average price point of existing homes closer to 600,000. So again, the opportunity is just incredible here. It's just being the first ones to get up here and really start building. And we're lucky enough that a builder saw the opportunity of working with us the same way that at OmniKey, we get all these off-market builders to sell to us directly. It's knowing that we're going to close. It's knowing that they've got a sure thing because a builder like this can't go get loans to go build all these properties unless they have someone on the hook guaranteeing a close without contingencies. And so that's what we provide, and that's how we get deals like what we got. And it also just so happens that we locked in the pricing before everything went even more crazy. And so the deal is just, again, it's absolutely incredible.
Did it skip? I can't tell.
No,
No,
we're
okay.
good. So Ardmore is your next major city going north into Oklahoma. So I want to focus heavy on North Texas because that's booming, but you saw the unemployment numbers, so is Oklahoma. Ardmore is only 30 minutes north of this area, so same distance as Denton. It's the 18th largest city in Oklahoma. Major distribution centers in Ardmore as well. Dollar General, Michelin, Dollar Tree Distribution, Dot Foods, Best Buy, Valero Refineries. Again, major employers in this area. For those of you that have been listening to me for years, this is the next Sherman Denison. This area, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about an area with more jobs than they know what to do with, and no one is paying attention. We are just now starting to see people understand the dynamic of what's happening here. Low unemployment rate of 3.5% in Ardmore. Again, Oklahoma overall has a very low unemployment rate, even lower than North Texas. And in Ardmore, this big city, this is a city of 25,000, there's only 8 rentals on the market with at least 2 bedrooms. Again, housing shortage is incredible.
Wow.
And for those of you that don't understand the significance of the housing shortage, it's not just 100% occupancy. It's rent prices going up. It's supply and demand. So the less inventory we have and the more people needing inventory, the more prices are going to go up. What we saw when everything went crazy 5-6 years ago were bidding wars on rentals. We had people coming in offering us over asking $100, $200 up and really through COVID because there was nothing available. And that is what I believe we're going back to. And then of course, you've already got here a lower property tax rate than North Texas, but then you have the governor come out a few days ago, of course, following in Texas's governor's steps, saying that they're ready to eliminate the state income tax. So Texas is focusing on property taxes. Well, now Oklahoma is focusing on the state income tax. And so how quickly they're going to disband it is unclear at this time, but it is his agenda. It is what they all want. Again, they financially can do it. And so I think that we're going to be seeing that in the very near future. So that's going to completely be transformative to the southern Oklahoma area as well.
Okay, so I don't see any questions. I think you were just so thorough, but if you have some, put them in there. In the meantime, you would just go to growdevelopments.com. You'll see both the Texas fund and the Oklahoma fund. This one, oh, there's a question. Good. This one it'll have the webinars posted. You'll also see a section where it says documents, and that's where you would click to download the PPM, the operating agreement, and the subscription agreement. And if you have any questions about how to fill those out, you can talk to Ann or Kathy, Ann Triplett or Kathy McBride. They've been with Real Wealth for years. They understand the process and can help you with that. So you can go to growdevelopments.com or send questions on the paperwork to syndications@growdevelopments.com. Now to the IRR and the 6% preferred. Okay, so the way a preferred return works is in a syndication like this, where we're the fund managers and you're the investors, with a preferred return, you get that 6% annualized first. So if the cash flow isn't enough to cover it, then you get it at the back end from the profit. But what are your thoughts on that, Leah, in terms of how much they will be getting, what the cash on, not the cash on cash return, but yeah, what the return would be from just the cash flow before
Yeah,
the
so
profit?
these cash flow pretty well. And the great thing about it is that we are doing refinancings early. As soon as rates come down, we're actually refinancing the initial ones to go and buy more. I think likely we're going to be in a position where we're going to be refinancing and taking less than what the bank is offering because of how much built-in equity there is. You know, you think about, you've got close to 20% equity built in, which is enough to refinance by itself. And so I actually think that we're going to be in a great position, and we underwrote it to refinance out these properties and actually return capital to the investor. So we're not just talking about a pref here, we're also talking about refinancing the first batch to go buy more and do capital payback. So that's one of the great opportunities with this fund, because of not only the equity, but also the growth in this area and how well they perform, that we're not going to be waiting to the end to do capital payback. We'll be able to start that process with the first batch and second batch of refinances.
What's the risk of tornadoes?
You know, this is kind of like the very, very southern tip of Tornado Alley. Pretty uncommon to get them through here. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I've only had tornadoes affect properties of ours one time, and it was a fluke storm, and that was in Rowlett. I have heard,
Wow.
yeah, I was in Rowlett of all places. It was crazy. And even that, we didn't have total losses and nobody died. It was like the back side of a house, it ripped the back pergola, kind of attached patio off. And then we had one where the pressure took windows out. So, you know, tornado alleys, when you get really deep into Oklahoma, the big thing that we have are thunderstorms. And with thunderstorms can come hail and straight line winds. But I actually find those to be a positive, because that means that our roofs never age out of insurance age. And so if we need to do a new roof, if you're holding a property for a long time, we can claim that roof, get it replaced. And so as an investor, I actually like that, unlike in other states like California, where often you will have to pay cash for your roofs because the roofs age out of coverage or a covered event. And so really not a concern. Again, these are rare occurrences. We're not talking we're in the middle of Nebraska here with Dorothy. We're talking about the very, very southern tip of what is the start of Tornado Alley. And so not really a concern. But at the end of the day, that's an insurable loss. So even if the unthinkable happened, you know, that's what insurance is for, and insurance is at more than what we're in it for. And so often you make good money on insurance claims, as bad as that sounds. So where I worry, the types of natural disasters that scare me are things like flooding. If you're buying in a floodplain, those are the types of things where we see issues with insurance coverage and needing to make sure that we have things over and above that. And that's not just an issue that we deal with in these areas, that's more in coastal areas. And so that's personally, as an investor, what I avoid. But for this area, heavy thunderstorms is going to be our biggest thing. And what'll happen is we might get a new roof if we own it long enough.
And what are your thoughts on how long we would own it?
So I think it's really going to depend on what this area does. As we see a lot of these employers ramping up over the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to have a much better idea of where appreciation is going to go. We're saying somewhere between 4, 7, 9 years. It's pretty broad. You know, if we have crazy growth and the market starts to look volatile, then we'll recommend an exit. If we're seeing steady, consistent appreciation, price going up, fantastic cash flow, then we're not going to sell it any earlier than we have to. And so I think it really is going to be kind of a dependent on what's happening around us. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess around 7 years.
And at what point would the first refinance happen, and then those funds would go to a purchase? So at what point would the refinance then the funds go to investors?
Yeah, so I would anticipate that as soon as the next batch is ready, we're already going to be working on refinancing the first. Pretty much everyone expects rates to come down in the next 6 to 9 months. And I think we're already starting to see signs that that's coming. I think we're going to maybe have one more hike. And, I could speculate all day long, but we're going into an election cycle. They need to make things look a little bit better. So as soon as rates come down, we will go in and refinance. We just don't want to refinance so early that we're sitting on that money paying on a loan and the next batch isn't ready to purchase. So we're going to time it just right where we go get the next batch and start that capital payback process. Great thing about this is these are individual fourplexes, so we don't have to sell it as a batch. We don't have to buy it as a batch. We can do everything individually, meaning that we don't have to go take one loan at where rates are at that moment for all of them. We can do some of them just enough for what we need, and then when rates drop even more, go do more. So flexibility in this project, not only for the acquisition, the refinance, but also for the sale, is one of the strengths, I think, and resiliency of this particular project.
Okay, is the builder under contract to build all 10 fourplexes at this initial price, or can that price change?
I am under contract at 450 on all of them.
He's not very happy about that, though.
He's not happy about it, but he's going to build them. And actually, he is so excited about what this is allowing him to do. Because again, like I said, these builders can't do this without someone like us backing them. He's actually approaching me about another project now he wants to do next. And so I think the opportunity here is it's massive, and he's extremely committed, which I love too.
About how long will it take for investors to get their first rental distribution?
So again, these are going to be very easy to stabilize because we're not waiting for renovations and things. And so the first two will be done in November. We'll close on them. I'm actually already starting the process of pre-leasing. I already have interested applicants. And so I think we'll start distributions very quickly. We'll look at each one individually. So it's not like the rent from the first one's going to be used to go buy the next one. That is working in a different way. So I would anticipate that, again, 2 calendar quarters after entry is when distributions would begin.
Okay, that's it for the questions. Well, Leah, thank you so much. I know I'm going to be interviewing you for the Real Well Show too. We'll see if we get more information, and of course, we'll do another webinar. We usually get questions afterwards, so if you didn't think of something and you think later, oh, I wish I'd asked this, just send that question to syndications at Grow Developments, and we'll do another webinar next week.
Yeah.
All right, Leah, I hope you feel better. She's had a little bit of a cough
Thank
with
you.
that little one bringing germs home. That's what they do.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining us here. Just go to growdevelopments.com for all the details. All right, take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.